is lesson 10. Today we will review what we talked about in the last class, which was speaking about sensitive topics. Always think about where you are when you start one of these conversations. If you're at a reception and you have 5 minutes before the meeting starts, not a great time to start talking about racism. Sensitive personal topics should be talked about when you're meeting somebody in a more relaxed situation, not a business situation. Remember that if you're talking to people about their sensitive topics, you should be willing to share your own sensitive topics. Things happen. Your time may have run out. You are willing to talk about your personal stuff, but time has run out. Say, hey, I'll buy you a cup of coffee and let's keep talking. This was great. Just some advice. Okay. When I say talking in meetings, these meetings don't have to be business. They could be social meetings. Talking when you don't really feel like it and it's a public event. A lot of us have to go to these meetings and we don't feel comfortable speaking in English. A lot of the complaints that I've heard are that the people who are native speak too quickly. They don't understand that we need more time to understand. We need them to speak slower. The way my students used to do was they would not say anything during the meeting, which is not okay, and they would then ask the bilingual people, they would ask them questions later, like, what did the boss say about A, B, and C? And then that person would be the translator. If it works for you, that's fine. Just know that the people who speak in meetings are more visible. And the more visible you are, the more likely you are to get promoted. If they don't know who you are, they aren't going to promote you. But if they know who you are, if they see you, if you're there participating and giving opinions and trying, then they're more likely to say, I want to work with that person. Here are some of my suggestions for speaking up at meetings. These could be social meetings, but we're talking more about business meetings because in social meetings, the people around you are trying to communicate with you more. But in business meetings, they just expect you to do the extra work alone. First of all, I'd like you to set a goal for yourself. If you have weekly meetings, daily meetings, monthly meetings, decide now, 1, I'm going to ask a question at the next meeting, or I'm going to answer a question at the next meeting, or I'm going to ask to present at the next meeting, or I'm going to just talk at the next meeting. Number 2, research. Usually what happens is you get an email saying what will be discussed in the meeting. Instead of not reading that email, going to the meeting and quietly sitting there and doing nothing until it's over, look at what they sent you and research the information so that if there are questions, you can ask them. Or research the information and write questions. I cannot stress this enough. In Korea, asking questions is a big no-no. But in Western culture, asking questions is so valuable. It shows that you understand the information, that you care about the information and you want clarification, that you are interested in what's happening, that you understand the power dynamic, that person has the answers, and the more answers, the more information you have, the more power you have. Use what you know. If you are young, you may feel uncomfortable speaking at meetings. Use the fact that you are young. Add to the conversation by saying, I've noticed that young people like A, B, and C, so I think we should add that to our program. whatever your expertise is. I'm in the engineering department, and I've noticed that the engineers appreciate A, B, and C, so we should consider that as part of this package. Okay, expect a 30% success rate. No matter the goal you set, expect failure, and that's okay. 30% is much bigger than 0%. You were probably sitting there thinking, oh my God, great advice, Kiki, but there's no way that I'm going to do it. So, one of the things that I'd like to focus on now is just the ask a question. In the sensitive topics, asking the person specific questions about the sensitive topic was the best way to get a conversation going, right? So what do you think about gender inequality? I think it's not fair. I don't know. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Right? So specific questions like, is there gender inequality in the workplace where you work? Being more specific, not just complete open questions. Rhetorical questions, again, these aren't even questions that are expecting an answer, and yet they change the way the audience listens to you. But here we're talking about meetings, and we're talking about somebody in a position of power. They're talking, and you need to slow them down. You need a clarification. I suggest just raising your hand. I know this seems very awkward. You're not in school, but they're talking and they're going really fast and you've lost all direction. Be the one who does it. Later, people will thank you. Raise your hand and say, excuse me, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Just to make sure, can you clarify what you mean when you say the da-da-da count? Can you give me an example of what you mean if you say we should all be trying harder? I was just wondering if you can elaborate on the last point you made. Could you please explain one more time what you mean when you say? The reason that I repeat what the person said is because it shows that I'm listening, which is really, really important when you stop somebody in the middle of what they're saying. It's impolite to interrupt, however. The person speaking, if they're speaking so fast, only natives understand what that person is saying, then it's okay for you to raise your hand, at least show, I'm trying to pay attention, I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Right now, I'm losing track of what you mean. That person needs to understand, also for their own benefit, that the people around them are interested, want to understand, the desire is there, are having a hard time. Since the meeting is for natives and non-natives, asking for clarification is really a great way to get the person to slow down, get more information, and benefit everybody around you who's a non-native, because they all feel the same way. To practice my point, I'm going to read to you from the article, and just a short paragraph. I'm going to read the first point called Stop Censoring Yourself. And as practice, try to make a question about every statement you hear in the same fashion as I mentioned before. I heard you say something about censoring yourself. Can you elaborate? Can you explain? Can you give more details? Can you give me an example? So make as many questions as you can for the following passage. Ready? 1. Stop censoring yourself. Once you stop censoring yourself, you'll automatically speak out more often. It's important to share your thoughts and ideas without over-editing them or limiting your expression. Don't lose valuable opportunities to share your views and be seen as the influential person you are. So that was just 1 minute of me reading something. I want you in the comment section below to make 5 questions that start with, I heard you say A. Can you elaborate? Can you give an example? Can you explain? So you're making clarification questions to practice what you can do during a meeting. In Western culture, the speaker takes responsibility. They want to be understood. They want you to ask them questions. I want you to ask me questions. Feel free to post a comment, post a link to a video of you asking. That's also helpful for you in general to practice your public speaking. All right, guys, keep trying, make mistakes, and keep going. I'll see you next time. Bye.